When we think about transformation, we often imagine it arriving through a single, dramatic breakthrough moment, the kind of event that changes everything in an instant. We imagine a sudden spark of inspiration, a life-altering opportunity, or a single leap of faith that redefines our destiny. And while those moments can certainly exist, the truth is far less glamorous but far more reliable. Real transformation is rarely the result of one massive choice. It is the cumulative effect of countless small decisions, repeated over time, stacked one on top of the other, until a new reality begins to take shape. By day 56 of this journey, that truth is already becoming clear. Think about it. For 55 days, you have been making choices, some big, most small. Some you probably celebrated, others you may have doubted. But what matters is not the size of each decision, it's the consistency with which you've made them. Every day, every moment, you are casting votes for the person you want to become. Each choice is a brushstroke, and together, they are painting the masterpiece of your life. The fascinating part is that the human mind often underestimates the weight of these daily decisions. We tend to dismiss them because they don't seem to matter right now. Skipping a workout doesn't ruin your health today. Spending an hour scrolling instead of learning doesn't erase your intelligence today. Eating one unhealthy meal doesn't damage your body today. But when repeated over weeks, months, and years, these seemingly harmless choices accumulate into patterns, and patterns create destiny. The opposite is equally true. Choosing discipline today won't transform you overnight, but compound it over time, and suddenly you find yourself stronger, sharper, more aligned than you were before. It is important to recognize that transformation is not just about what we achieve it, about who we are becoming in the process. Every choice reflects identity. When you choose to read instead of distract yourself, you're not just learning, you're affirming that you are someone who values growth. When you choose to honor your commitments, even when it's inconvenient, you're reinforcing the identity of someone who is trustworthy and resilient. In this way, every choice is more than an action. It's a declaration of who you are becoming. In psychology, this idea finds resonance in the concept of the compound effect, popularized by Dr. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He emphasizes that small, consistent behaviors can lead to significant, often unexpected results. Similarly, the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle wisely noted, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. By day 56, you are no longer simply trying to change, you are in the midst of forming habits, and those habits are forming you. Of course, the challenge is that daily choices are not glamorous. They rarely come with applause or recognition. No one congratulates you for drinking water instead of soda. No one claps when you decide to spend 20 minutes journaling instead of numbing yourself with distractions. And yet, these uncelebrated moments often become the foundation of greatness. What the world sees later as success is only the public evidence of thousands of private decisions made in silence. That's why the mindset around small choices matters so much. If you treat them as insignificant, you'll act carelessly, and carelessness compounds just as powerfully as discipline. But if you treat them as sacred, as votes for the future you want to inhabit, then even the smallest decision carries weight and meaning. The key is to shift from living reactively to living intentionally. When you begin to see every choice as an opportunity to align with your highest self, you move from passively drifting through life to actively shaping it. By this point in the journey, you might have already noticed subtle changes. Perhaps you feel more focused, more present, or more disciplined than you did when you began. Those changes are not accidents. They are the visible signs of invisible choices stacking up day after day. The body begins to adapt, the mind begins to sharpen, and the soul begins to trust that you are serious about growth. Transformation becomes less of a dream and more of a lived reality. So if there is one message to carry forward from this stage of the journey, it is this: never underestimate the power of your daily choices. They may not look dramatic, but they are quietly rewriting the story of your life. Every day is a ballot cast for the person you want to become. Every decision is a vote in favor of your future. And the most powerful realization you can carry with you is this: transformation is not waiting to arrive in some distant future. It is happening right now, in every small choice you make. The question is simple, but it cuts to the heart of your journey. Who are you choosing to become today? Most people think motivation is the fuel that drives success, so they chase it, try to find it, even wait for it. But motivation is an unreliable fuel. It runs out. Sometimes it's replaced by distractions, doubt, fatigue, or fear. The longer we pursue goals without understanding this, the more we'll suffer from unnecessary setbacks. The solution is to use the power of discipline instead. This is the 56th day of our 60-day journey, and I wanted to share some insights that I believe can make a significant impact on your mental health and personal growth. Now, discipline is hard to maintain for long periods. We all have moments where we want to quit, procrastinate, or get distracted. But when we train ourselves to push through these moments and keep going, that's when we discover the power of motivation. Motivation is what gets us started. It's the fuel that drives our initial efforts, and it usually feels abundant at the start of any journey. But as we continue, we need a more reliable source of energy to keep us going, which is why discipline becomes so important. By choosing to act despite how we feel, we cultivate a stronger sense of self-mastery and resilience. Over time, this builds a strong foundation for success. By day 56, you've probably encountered many challenges and obstacles. You might have faced moments of self-doubt, fatigue, distractions, or even failures. These experiences can shake our resolve and make us question whether we should continue on this journey. It's crucial to recognize these moments, acknowledge our feelings, and choose to act anyway. This is where true strength lies. The good news is that as we continue to push through these challenging moments, we gradually build a stronger sense of self-discipline and self-mastery. This newfound inner strength becomes a valuable asset, helping us stay focused and resilient in the face of future obstacles. It's like building a muscle. The more we exercise self-discipline, the stronger it becomes. Our ability to resist distractions, overcome challenges, and stay committed to our goals grows stronger with each passing day. As we continue to harness the power of discipline, we'll also notice a shift in our mindset and emotions. Initially, our motivation might have been sparked by excitement, curiosity, or a desire for change. However, as we move past the 56th day, these initial feelings may start to fade. Instead, a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment emerges. We begin to find satisfaction in the journey itself, not just the end result. This shift in perspective allows us to approach our goals with a renewed sense of commitment and determination. Moreover, by prioritizing discipline over motivation, we become more adaptable in the face of setbacks and challenges. Instead of being derailed by temporary feelings of discouragement or lack of enthusiasm, we can rely on our growing sense of self-discipline to guide us back onto the path towards our goals. We learn to celebrate small victories, acknowledge our progress, and adjust our strategies when needed. This adaptability becomes a crucial factor in our ability to navigate the complexities of our goals and overcome any obstacles that may arise. In essence, embracing discipline over motivation is a transformative approach that can significantly impact our ability to stay committed to our goals and achieve lasting success. By recognizing the limitations of motivation, developing self-discipline, finding purpose, and celebrating small victories along the way, we can cultivate a more resilient and fulfilling journey towards our aspirations. Remember, motivation is like a wave. It comes and goes, but discipline is the anchor that keeps us grounded and focused. As you continue on your journey, I encourage you to embrace the power of discipline. Let it be your guiding force as you navigate the challenges and triumphs that lie ahead. Trust in your ability to stay committed, adaptable, and resilient in the face of any obstacles. And remember to celebrate every small victory along the way. Your dedication and perseverance will pave the way for lasting success and personal growth. I hope these thoughts are helpful. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. By the time you reach day 56 of any transformative journey, something interesting begins to happen. The initial discomfort of starting, the soreness, the unfamiliarity, the resistance slowly fades. You build routines, you find rhythm, and things that once felt difficult start to feel normal. That is progress. But it's also a hidden danger. Because as soon as something becomes comfortable, it stops stretching you. And growth, by its very nature, requires you to continually step into spaces that unsettle you. Comfort is seductive. It whispers to you that you've done enough, that you can settle here, that the progress you've made is sufficient. It's the quiet voice that says, stay safe, stay familiar, stay where you know what to expect. And while there's nothing wrong with moments of rest, the truth is, staying in your comfort zone is the fastest way to stagnation. You don't just pause growth there, you slowly begin to shrink. Because life is never static. You're either moving forward or sliding backward. Breaking comfort zones is not about reckless risk-taking. It's about deliberately and consciously putting yourself in positions where you must stretch, adapt, and expand. Think of a muscle in the body. If you lift the same weight, the same way every single day, at some point your body stops responding. You maintain, but you no longer grow. It is only when you increase the weight, change the angle, or push beyond the limit you've known, that the muscle is forced to adapt. The same principle applies to the mind, to habits, and to life itself. By this stage in your journey, you may have already established discipline. You may have built habits that felt impossible at the start. That's a victory. But if those habits no longer challenge you, they risk becoming another version of comfort. Reading 10 pages a day may have once been a breakthrough, but now it feels easy. Running 2 miles may have stretched you in the beginning, but now it's routine. The real question becomes, are you willing to go further? Are you willing to step into the discomfort of more? Psychologically, comfort zones are tied to safety. The brain is wired to protect you, to conserve energy, and to avoid perceived threats. But that same protective wiring often mistakes growth for danger. The anxiety you feel when you step onto a stage, when you attempt a new skill, or when you face a bigger challenge, it's your brain signaling. This is unfamiliar. Be careful. But that discomfort is not a stop sign, it's an invitation. It's the signal that you are exactly where transformation begins. Breaking comfort zones is less about physical action and more about identity. Every time you do something that feels uncomfortable, you're telling yourself a new story about who you are. You're expanding the boundaries of what you believe is possible. What once felt impossible becomes your new normal. That's how growth compounds, not just in ability, but in self-perception. You stop seeing yourself as someone limited by fear, and you start seeing yourself as someone capable of rising to any challenge. The people who achieve extraordinary success in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, all share one common trait. They are willing to consistently move beyond their comfort zones. They normalize discomfort. They reframe fear not as a barrier, but as proof they're heading in the right direction. Where most people retreat, they advance. And it is not because they don't feel fear, it is because they've trained themselves to act despite it. At day 56, this is where your journey demands honesty. Are you still pushing yourself? Or have you quietly settled into a new comfort zone disguised as progress? Are you stretching yourself toward the next level? Or are you just repeating the same actions that once felt hard but now feel safe? Here's the paradox. The more you break your comfort zones, the more comfortable you become with discomfort itself. Fear doesn't disappear, but it loses its power over you. You begin to crave challenges, to seek them out, to lean into them rather than run from them. That shift is the true mark of transformation, not just doing difficult things, but becoming the kind of person who thrives in difficulty. So the challenge for you at this stage is not just to keep going, it is to keep growing. It's to identify the spaces where you've become comfortable and deliberately push beyond them. It might mean setting a higher standard, tackling a new skill, speaking up when you normally stay silent, or demanding more of yourself than you thought possible. Whatever it looks like, it will feel uncomfortable. And that is exactly the point. Because comfort may keep you safe, but only discomfort will make you great. And so, as you stand at this point in your journey, ask yourself, what comfort zone am I still clinging to, and what new discomfort am I willing to embrace in order to continue becoming the person I was meant to be? By day 56, something profound begins to emerge in this journey. It's no longer just about the choices you make, the habits you're building, or even the challenges you've overcome. It's about identity. You begin to realize that this process is not simply about doing different things, it's about becoming someone different. Think about it this way. Every action you take, every decision you commit to, every sacrifice you make, it's not just shaping your external results. It's shaping your internal self-image. And that self-image is powerful because you will always act in alignment with the story you believe about yourself. If you see yourself as inconsistent, you'll unconsciously find ways to sabotage consistency. If you see yourself as disciplined, you'll naturally make disciplined choices. Identity is the compass that directs behavior. By this stage in the journey, the line between what you do and who you are starts to blur. You're no longer just reading books, you're becoming a learner. You're no longer just exercising, you're becoming an athlete. You're no longer just showing discipline, you're becoming a disciplined person. That shift is subtle, but it's everything. Because once identity changes, actions follow effortlessly. You no longer have to fight yourself into good choices. You simply live them because they're part of who you are. Philosophically, this ties into one of the deepest human truths. We are always in the process of becoming. We are not fixed. We are not static. Every day we are either reinforcing the old version of ourselves or stepping into a new one. Transformation, then, is not about chasing something external. It's about aligning your daily choices with the higher self you aspire to embody. The body follows the mind, and the mind follows the identity you claim. Psychologically, identity-based transformation is the most sustainable form of change. Habits built on willpower alone often collapse under stress. Goals driven only by external rewards lose their power once achieved. But when your actions are tied to your identity, they become self-sustaining. You don't have to force yourself into them. They flow from who you believe yourself to be. For example, if your goal is simply to run a marathon, you might train for months and then stop afterward. But if your identity becomes, I am a runner, then running is no longer tied to a single event. It becomes a way of life. At day 56, this is the real transformation. You are not just collecting achievements. You are constructing identity. You are not just chasing success. You are embodying success. And once you start to live from that place, you stop asking, can I do this? And you start declaring, this is who I am. That declaration shifts everything because life will always rise to match the identity you embrace. Of course, identity is not built in silence, it's proven through action. You can't just tell yourself you're disciplined and expect it to stick. You must prove it to yourself by following through. You can't just declare you're resilient without enduring challenges and rising above them. Identity is like a muscle, it strengthens every time you act in alignment with it. And just as importantly, it weakens every time you betray it. That's why this stage of the journey demands integrity. If you want to become the person you aspire to be, you must live in a way that your actions and your identity reinforce one another. This is also why reflection matters. Transformation is not just about doing more. It's about being aware of who you are becoming through what you do. It requires you to pause, to ask yourself hard questions. Am I living as the person I want to become? Am I honoring the standards of my future self, or am I still clinging to the patterns of my past? These moments of self-honesty are uncomfortable, but they are the checkpoints that prevent you from drifting back into old identities. And here's the most liberating truth. Becoming the person you aspire to be is not about perfection. It's about alignment. You don't need to embody every quality of your highest self overnight. You simply need to choose each day to live more and more in harmony with that vision. Transformation is not a sudden leap, it's a gradual becoming. Day by day, choice by choice, you close the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. So as you stand here on day 56, recognize that the real victory is not just in the habits you've built, the comfort zones you've broken, or the discipline you've developed. The real victory is in who you are becoming. Because at the end of this 100-day journey, it won't just be about what you've achieved, it will be about who you've become in the process. And that is the ultimate transformation. Not changing what you do, but evolving into the kind of person for whom those actions are natural. So the question to carry with you is this: are you simply doing the work, or are you becoming the person you were always destined to be?